And I went around, all I had was the eyes cut out my GIMP suit, and I was going like, "Hey, I'm the FIFA GIMP." That was my voice. The worst thing you've ever seen.
One of the most frequently asked questions we get on
what
the
do you
channel
use?
is, what do you use? What I guess it's like
What
$6,000 setup,
yeah.
and it's like, no, we use a GoPro,
a media
Hero
mod.
9 and a media mod.
That's
it.
yeah.
And yes, it's a lot of money. Just it's like £300, but that's it. And actually, you can just get a little microphone for your phone. And
we've had one game where I can't remember the game. I think it was Rotherham actually. Second half, it nailed it down. And the media mods that you put on GoPros aren't waterproof, so it nailed it down. And the audio from the whole of the second half was just gone, sort of thing. So I've had to almost like talk people through it. It's weird, but again, the content's decent. The footage is actually decent. The audio's gone, but it's fine. So you don't have to have all singing, all dancing. Just be nice and personal.
Yeah.
Simple as
It helps
that.
if you play in a decent football team in Championship or the Premier League.
Yeah, it does that.
No, that's the thing. That's sure. Obviously, everyone's got a thing that's their catalyst that makes their content interesting, and then you can do like loads of other stuff that you do as well. And I think that's also really important. Like, because I'm sure you will as well. But like, I get asked that question more than anything else, especially by younger lads or girls that come up to me who maybe like anything from like 16 to like 22. I want to be YouTube. Everyone wants to be YouTube.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do? And I have to be really honest with them, and I say it's not. I don't know, because I did it in a very different world to you.
Yeah.
I did it when I gambled a lot of time on YouTube.
Yeah.
But there was no promise of an end result. There was no promise of money.
There was no case study of anyone making money on YouTube at that point.
So I was like wasting. I was being told by my mates I was wasting my time. Like, whereas now, if someone's working hard at YouTube with no views, no one's going to say you're wasting your time because you can't make money on YouTube. They might say you're not making good enough videos or you're not going to make it. But there was nothing to make, so I can't put myself in their shoes. And we're all very fortunate. We have different reasons. Like I worked for football. I worked for Vincent Company. I worked at Copper 90. I had all these routes into the industry, and then I had some good video ideas, and then other YouTubers worked with us. Do you know what I mean? All these. It's not just here's an idea.
It wasn't plain sailing, was it, Spen?
And it's not lucky.
It wasn't
that's
plain
not
sailing.
luck,
Like for as many good content series you've had, I'm sure you've had a couple of busts along the way, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think once you get to the point where you've got like some sort of critical mass of people that you're fans, if you like, or subscribers, or whatever you want to call them, you can get away with the odd rubbish idea or something you don't finish or something like that, because they buy into you. And that's the big thing about that's where YouTube worries me a little bit, the way it's going, because it's like you're losing that. YouTube in its early day was like MySpace. You had a channel that was like a MySpace profile. You're like, hi, I'm Spencer, I'm this old, I make these videos, like, do you want to subscribe? And then it slowly got more corporate to the point where we can still do what we do, but you've got the James Corden show on the trending page and they've paid for it. Jimmy Fallon, he's paid for it. It's not trending because people love watching them on YouTube.
That's not traditional YouTube anymore.
No, it's not.
No.
And I think like what you were talking about there, the USA. I think the USA YouTube compared to the UK YouTube are a million miles apart. And I know which one I'd rather be in as well. I'd much rather be in the UK ones. I think we do produce some of the better stuff, the better content. The American stuff is very sort of
shiny and
commercial.
Well, even that, some of the stuff they got up to, like oh my gosh, outrageous.
You have to have a routine. Like, it's not. I can't just say to a kid, "Oh, get a really good idea and you will make it," because it's not a meritocracy. Ultimately, the best videos don't get the most views necessarily. Good videos will do well sometimes, but there's some great videos on 10 views, and there's some awful videos on 10 million.
Sure,
a great example of that is many years ago there was a company who I haven't checked in a few years. But it was called Unscripted, and they acquired the rights for Ronaldo to film vlogs for their channel. Wow. This is before he did any other content online. This is probably over 5 years ago. And they had vlogs that I found by pure chance. They had like 400 views, been up a week. There was Ronaldo playing football with his son in his garden. Like, you put that up now, millions of views, right? And that is a prime example. And I often say to people who say, "Oh, how do you get views?" Like, it's not about, like, you could have right now, you could drive down a road and there could be to the right hand side on the floor this week's winning lottery ticket. If you don't know it's there, you don't stop the car and go and get it. Right? Do you know what I mean? There has to be a route to that content. Yeah. So this company has spent an inordinate amount of money procuring those rights, but they had no way of delivering it to people. They just thought, but it's Ronaldo, I'll put it on YouTube. But how do people just know it's there? It's not going to just happen. It's a brand new YouTube channel. But eventually they developed a strategy.
On YouTube, that was your strategy. That everything really I've done has come from collaboration. You know, like the Wembley Cup. Before that, it was a thing called FIFA Player on Copper 90. I don't know if you guys how good your research is.
Of course we have. I was watching it this morning. Oldest videos, lads.
The FIFA Player it was very fun to do, and it was like a comedy series. But actually, if you strip it back, and it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, but it was a series that I created with a few other people at Copper 90, designed to get us subscribers. That's actually what it was.
Yeah.
And I basically put on that mask because no one else wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I ended up loving doing it. But the point was, my job, I was paid by them to get subscribers to that channel. I wasn't paid as a presenter. I was always saying, put me on a show, make me present a show. But really, they hired me as a guy who knew YouTube. And I said, right, you've got to get a certain amount of subscribers, because that was a Google Originals channel. So Copper were given millions of pounds,
Yeah.
funded by Google. And then if they wanted to get more money in commission, they had to keep hitting certain subscriber targets.
Yeah, targets, yeah.
So like, it was a lot of other people there above me as well, but my really key role was making sure we're hitting our targets and making those targets and what's realistic. So I was like, we're paying certain YouTubers to work with us, KSI, all these people were doing series, but we needed our own series that was going to live on its own sort of, not going to cost silly money to make, but would get us steady subscribers through. So I was like, okay, reverse engineer it. FIFA, with a football channel, sure. It's almost like a necessary evil. We've got to do stuff with FIFA, even though we didn't necessarily want to make it at the time, that content, because it just does unbelievable views. Okay, so we do something from FIFA. How are we going to get views in it? Right, it's got to have a unique idea. Okay, well, I've seen this guy called Man vs. Booze who does drinking challenges in a balaclava. Let's nick that idea. We also need to have YouTubers on there to basically tell people where the video is, because that's the most important bit, like Sebs says. They have to push people to it, or they won't exist. Okay, here's 10 YouTubers I've written up. I've got all their contact details. I've spoke to their agents if they've got agents. They'll be in a series with us. And then we come up with the character.
This is
Complete
the keys
reverse
to the
engineering.
kingdom, here.
Mate,
This is the keys to the kingdom.
I was
getting
going,
lost in that.
People would think I had this idea for a funny comedy character, and I
just
created
went
this
bang,
idea of a guy. That was all later. We did pilots of that called the FIFA GIMP, where I wore a GIMP suit, and I went around. All I had was the eyes cut out of my GIMP suit, and I was going like, "Hey, I'm the FIFA GIMP." That was my voice. The worst thing you've ever seen. If I find it, I'll send you a list. So bad,
I'm the FIFA
and it never
GIMP.
would have done well. But the point is, we had the whole show written, if you like, or planned.
But also,
and then changed the character last minute to be something
But then at
different.
the same point, then I can say this because all the ingredients were there. You had to then have the format to keep people, make them share it, right?
Yeah.
So you can pay someone to get a big star in your video that's going to help you tighten the thumbnail, get some organic reach. But then if they are sort of engaged can you also shout out this piece of content, call to action, link in the description. That's going to send an amount of traffic, but that traffic's going to be a much lower engaged amount of traffic than you might get from a homepage. Someone on a homepage is clicking a video because they've seen something they're interested in. They might give it longer to dwell on. All this dwell time you're feeding into an algorithm is going to help or boost your organic reach, or how many times that video and that thumbnail is going to get pushed to other people that are not your subscribers, right? But if they are told to do something by someone else, there might be a little bit, I'll have a look. If KSI has told me to have a look, I'll have a look. So they'll have a look, JJ's in it, what is this then? But then you've got to have the hook still. It's not as simple as get a load of YouTubers in it and pay them to promote the video. Because they'll just turn off it, and then what you have is the absolute opposite, which actually is complete negative, is you have a really short watch time. So if you now have a huge amount of people watch a video, but all turn off after 3 seconds, YouTube go, we're not saying that to anyone organically because no one's staying for it. So if you then have everything, a high traffic spike, and retention,
You've
boom,
nailed it.
boom. So it's a good idea and distribution as a strategy.
But also you've got to always adapt, because I wouldn't know how to do that as well now, because back then there was different methodologies that don't exist anymore. So for example, we'd pay a YouTuber to like a video, because back then if you liked a video, it would go to your subscriber feed just like you uploaded a video, the same algorithmic properties. So for example, KSI liking a video was worth 300,000 views.
Really?
Like that. Likewise, subscriber movement was so much more prevalent back then. Like, I remember we did a West Ham vlog. Bear in mind, I've never been like a guy that gets like millions of views in every video. Like, generally, I'd probably get 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 views in the sort of prime FIFA stuff I was doing back in the day. Then I had things like the Wembley Cup that would get more. We did one West Ham vlog, which was like low-hanging fruit. They get a couple 100k views at most. Me going to West Ham, very sort of centric to what I do. And I shouted out Saunders' YouTube channel, and he got put on like 70k subs in an hour or something. It would not happen now. I've got more subscribers now than I did then, but if I shouted out a channel now, it would be nowhere near as many.
It's changed. The algorithm changed, basically.
Well, no, it's a attention economy. This is I could get off tangent here, but the rise of these platforms has become because of development of things like this, right? So what's happened is, in a given time, 10 years ago, you and I would have a certain type of amount of habits. there's a certain amount of content we could be exposed to, whether that's reading a book, watching TV, going to the movies, reading a magazine, right? Now with the invention of this, there's so many more times in our day we can spend consuming content. So all of a sudden now the amount of stuff we can consume is bigger. So the apps like Instagram and YouTube have filled that time because now we can watch something on the bus that we couldn't otherwise watch. So now there's an amount of content that can fill a demand, right? So all of a sudden people come up on YouTube, they're filling that demand. There's a load of people that want to watch stuff on the bus, and now there's a certain amount they can watch. So everyone watches everything. Then these go through like an evolution, and now there's all these creators getting in on that. And now I believe we've reached a bit of a leveling out of the economy, whereas we can't get any more time now. We can watch it on our phone, watch it on our AirPods, watch it on our phone, our laptop, our iPads, everything. And now there's so much content. There's only so many eyes in the world, right? So population will increase, and of course the amount of there'll be an ageism of the population, so people that are an older demographic will start spending time, like our parents now watch things on their phone. They might have done that 3 years ago. So there's always going to be a little bit of an upcurve, but I believe the growth of the volume of content has now outstripped the growth at which people are spending more times on their phones. So it will continue to do it. So now you've got like the opposite, and now it's amazing. I've done some business conferences over the years and look about how people will actually look at a movie. Game of Thrones producers will look at their main competition as things like Fortnite. Because what are these people spending their time doing? They're playing their Xbox, playing Fortnite. So they're competing with Fortnite. They're not competing with Lord of the Rings anymore.
No, that's it.
I think it's the Premier League or something said something. Scudamore, someone that was back in the day a few years ago, was in charge of the Premier League, came out and said we think one of our biggest competitors is things like Fortnite.
Wow.
Not Serie A.
What is the youth of the day spending their time consuming and building relationships?
Thanks for listening, you lovely lot. I hope you enjoyed it. The full version will be dropping this Sunday on the Fozcast podcast YouTube channel.